Well, hello there, pilgrims. This is Jeremiah Gibbs. I'm your Camino guide. And actually, I'm just going to stop for a second and let you listen. They stopped already, but some of the pilgrims here have been singing the Ethaltria song, the Camino song, which is pretty famous. They've been singing it as we stop in various places, and they were singing there as we started. I thought I'd let you listen. So this is really just a quick update. I am in Boadillo del Camino, which is along the Meseta. We are, I'm trying to think. Sometimes when you're on Camino, you lose track of time. I think I'm about 2 days out of Burgos. So we went from Burgos to Hontanas, and from Hontanas now to Boadilla del Camino, and then tomorrow we'll go to Carrion de las Condas. So Carrion de las Condas, you may know, is the longest section of Camino Frances, which is without any kind of resources. So there's no water, there's no bars, there's no anything from Carrion de las Condas for 17 kilometers. So what we're planning to do, some of us that are kind of walking together, is we're going to walk from this town, Boadilla del Camino, until we get to Carrion de las Condas, and then we'll start that long 18K hot weather thing whenever we get into uh, whenever we get into um, uh, whenever we get into our next following day. So we are actually at the alberga. There's an alberga here in Boadilla del Camino. There's a beautiful pool. I'm going to try to walk out there a little bit. I don't know if I can get coverage all the way out there to be able to show you. But a lot of us are out here just at the pool, relaxing, drinking beverages, and enjoying our life. Oh, wait a minute. Here's the Adulteria song again. So, we have had an incredibly hot couple of days. Yesterday, the walk from Burgos to Burgos to Hontanas was only about 85 degrees Fahrenheit, but it was, I would say, miserable. I mean, like everybody said, that 30 kilometers was very, very hard. We are now we walked 28 kilometers today, but because I think so many of us learned a lesson from the day before, that today many of us got up early. So there are a few pilgrims in our group. I'm just checking in. We've been checking in on people. There are a few pilgrims from our group that are still out there on the trail. Um, and it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit today. It's 35 degrees Celsius. As you can see, there's a pool at this alberga. I think the last alberga I stopped at from also had a pool. They don't all have pools, but this one does too. So folks are swimming and people have their feet in the water and so on. That's what I've been doing, is really just soaking my feet in the water. But it is incredibly hot today. But here's what I've learned is that two things. First of all, it's so important that you're willing to get up and just go out there in the early morning. My wife is a minister as well, and she teaches our son. She's also a teacher. But my son, she often teaches him to eat the frog. She says, like, go out and do the hard thing first and early so that you can do the easier things later. And we absolutely have learned to eat the frog here, because if you get up early in the morning, we've been getting up around, like today I got up at 5:40, and I think I was out of the alberga at 6 o'clock to be able to make this 28 kilometers in very hot weather. Um, and you know what? The gift of doing that was absolutely returned to me. I had a long walk while it was still quite chilly, actually. And then there was a part of the walk where I walked with a Belgian pilgrim, Noeline, which I had kind of met earlier. We walked part of that together very fast, actually. We were able to get across many of those kilometers before it got hot. And then we only had to walk about 8 or 10 kilometers when the temperatures were really beginning to rise. And so if you're walking across the Meseta, it's so important. I'll do a video later, but there's a lot of lesson in using that umbrella. I'll show you all videos how beautiful, wonderful the umbrella is at building and lowering the temperatures, especially on a day like today where it's 95 degrees Fahrenheit. But we do still have pilgrims out there who are walking. Even now, I think, let's check the time real quick here. I think we are at about 6:30 or 7 now. So, there are still pilgrims out there who are walking in very, very hot temperatures. But if you get up early and just make the way, then you can do so in a reasonable amount of time. So anyway, definitely that is an important lesson, is the eat the frog. But the other thing that's so cool about what has happened with this little group of pilgrims, so there's actually, I think I mentioned it on my last live video, there's a group that was really walking behind us, and when we walked into Burgos, many of them walked like 40 kilometers, and they've kind of caught up with this group. So one of the things that happens on Camino is that you have these groups that sort of leapfrog each other and walk on their way into Santiago together. Um, in this case, there was a group of them that said, hey, why don't we walk 40 kilometers into Burgos? And they really kind of caught up with us, our group. So there's kind of a fun dynamic that's happened as a couple of groups have combined together here in the on the trail now. So we've really got kind of a cool relational dynamic. But one of the things that's been so cool about that is that these folks, sometimes when you're on Camino and it's hot like this, it's miserably hot, and you're walking long kilometers, people are just like, oh, they're so angry, and they can get angry with their fellow pilgrims and so on. But we have really people come in and they're like, oh, I'm so hot. But instead of being angry with the Camino or angry with the fellow pilgrims that are there, they're just like, oh, wait a minute. This is my friend Maria. Maria is from Denmark. She is a Dane. And Maria is an amazingly fun person. We walked together.
So are you.
2 days ago?
Yesterday.
Yesterday.
Yeah.
It's hard to lose track of time. So Maria is from Denmark, and she is an amazingly world-traveled person.
Oh, that's so nice of you.
Yes. And probably pretty much any language that you've ever heard of, Maria knows it.
No. So nice to meet you all.
So anyway, yeah. So that's my friend Maria.
I'll leave you with you.
Yeah, it's okay. Yeah. So we have one of the things that's been really cool. Actually, Maria is a great example. Thanks for doing that, Maria, because I was talking about you and you didn't even know it. No, not really you, but sort of you. So we've got a couple of people, sort of you, like that. We've got a couple of people, and Maria is a great example of folks who just bring an incredible energy to the pilgrimage, and just bring an incredible energy. And they like encourage everyone, as you just saw, like they're just an encouragement to each step of the way. And some of us in the hot temperatures, we would rather just like sit under a tree and stop. And people like Maria, and we've got some other pilgrims, there's 2 or 3 that just bring incredible energy to the way. And so thank you, Maria, for stopping in. But really, those people, I would really encourage you, as you think about how you make the way, to find a couple of people who are going to bring that kind of energy to your life and bring that kind of energy to your Camino and encourage you. So anyway, I'm going to sign off there. It's been incredibly hot, but we've learned some lessons along this way, and we're making it. And I hope that that you will plan to make Camino de Santiago as well. If you put any comments in the questions here, I'll try to answer those as much as I can. And I look forward to seeing you soon. Buen Camino, pilgrims.